So first things first, I want to set up some text elements on my scene so that when things happen, you get like tooltips basically that pop up. So I'm going to start off by creating some UI text. This will be, we'll call this the like tooltips, I don't know, hint text, or like action text, yeah. And then we'll create another text that is the like horse text. So the horse every once in a while will be like, neigh, neigh, I'm hungry, neigh, feed me. And the action text will say, oh, look, you can like unlock the door, or you've got a carrot, go feed the horse, or things like that. So let's place these in the scene. So I'm gonna put the horse text, I'll put that, let's say, right in the middle, and we'll kind of center it, make it a little bit bigger, and we're just going to set the width to be a little wider and also a little bit taller, just so we can make it bigger. And then here's actually kind of a cool thing. I don't know if anyone has discovered this already, but there is actually a fun component. So this is sort of legible, but you could do there's a component called outline that if you put on it, it puts a little outline on the text, and then all of a sudden this text is like much more legible, right? So you can change the color, change the distance away from how, so you can kind of like offset it. You probably don't want to do that, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So let's see, horse text. Okay, and then the action text, I'm going to place this in the bottom, and I'm going to do something just kind of similar where we make this much wider and also taller. Move it up a little bit from the bottom of the screen, and make the font size a little bit bigger. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same kind of styling here, which is to turn it white and then put an outline on it. And, you know, maybe we want to kind of differentiate things a little bit, so we could make it italic, so you kind of know maybe, or like I might use a different font or something like that. But yeah, okay. Action text. I might also kind of like change the colors here. You could do something fun, maybe. I like that blue. That's nice. Okay. All right. So we have our text set up, and so let's go into our player and add a new script. We'll call this the action manager. Okay. So the first thing I want to set up is the like kind of horse complaining text. So let's go in and create some text. So Unity engine.ui. So we're going to be altering text, so we need that. So I'm going to create a public text, and we'll call this horse text. We'll make another one, public text action text. There's going to be a little bit of a timer, so we'll call this horse timer. And then we will make a array of like strings of horse dialogue. And let's see. So the horse, it starts off pretty like strong. So it's like, nay, right? And then maybe it's like getting a little hungry. Nay, right? Maybe I'll use a capital N. And then it's getting weak, so it's like, yay. And then maybe it's like even weaker. It's dying, it's dying. And then, alright, okay, and your horse is dead. So you have kind of 5 chances to get it through the horse. We want to keep track of which dialogue we've showed last. So we'll give a little, make a little index here. And, yeah, okay. So let's start off by setting horse text equal to, we'll just do blank. And we'll also set the action text to be blank, and we will deal more with that later, but we just don't want either of them showing up. And we'll say that the horse timer is the amount of time that you have in between when these little dialogues show up. So we'll say that the maybe we can give this like a little bit more of a horse. We'll call this dialogue delay. Here we go. That makes a little bit more sense. We'll say that horse dialogue delay is maybe like 4 seconds, and then we can see how we feel about that amount of time. And then our dialogue index is going to start at 0, and then we're going to loop through. Okay, so oh, and then what I also want to do is just make a Boolean to check whether I am showing the horse dialogue or not. Showing horse dialogue. We will say that showing horse dialogue is false. Alright, so in our update, basically we want to say, it's like, if we are not showing horse dialogue, then we want the timer to go up. Delta time. And then we can say if the timer is greater than the horse dialogue delay, then we will show some horse dialogue. So we will say that horse text.text is going to be equal to horse dialogue at the dialogue index. Since we've already showed the first one, we will then increase the dialogue index. And then we will set showing horse dialogue to be true. Okay. So if we're not showing horse dialogue, we do that. If we are showing the horse dialogue, basically I want to just wait to see what happens. What we can do is essentially we want to just kind of wait until they dismiss the dialogue, so you can kind of freeze the character so that they know what's going on. So we'll do that in the character control script. But what we can do is we can say if the input, make sure we're typing correctly, get key down. So if they hit the space bar, then we can set the timer back to 0. We'll set showing horse dialogue to be false. And we will also set horse text to be blank again. So using this Boolean, we can freeze the character when it is true. So we want to basically just like pause everything, so to make sure that you're paying attention. So in the character control script, well, first, before we do that, let's save this and kind of see what happens. So if we hit play, oops, make sure you fill in the variables, horse text and action text. There we go. So if you hit play, okay, you can walk around, and then after a second it says nay, right? But I can still move, right? If I hit spacebar, it'll go away. 4 seconds later, the horse is very hungry. Nay. He's dying, right? Okay, so, but I can still move, so this kind of negates the whole, like, something is happening dialogue that I should read and not just, like, dismiss. So I want to be able to freeze the character if the dialogue is showing. So here, what we can do is we can say, if all these scripts are on the same game object, so I can just say get component action manager, and then we can say showing horse dialogue equals false. So if we are not showing the horse dialogue, it's angry at us because we didn't make this a public variable. It needs to be public for me to access it. There we go. So if we're not showing the dialogue, we can do all that stuff. And then if it is true, then we will just say that move velocity is equal to a new vector 2 of 0, 0. So we can't move. And we'll set okay. So let's save that and just double check that that is working. Walking around. Oh, okay, I'm stuck. So I can't move. But if I hit spacebar, it'll go back. Stuck. Okay, perfect. Alright, so this is the kind of first step. So we have our horse that is complaining. And the next video we'll go into how are we going to interact with the other objects in the scene.